hope you can all hear me, and I hope you're all very well today. It's a shame that we cannot all meet in person. I always enjoy these days, but being here online is just as good. So today I'm going to speak on the subject of innovation in media networks, workflows in times of change. And as we all know, we're all looking through the uncertainties caused by this pandemic. So I'm going to start with some independent industry research on technology priorities within the industry. I'll then look at how Sony is responding with some specific examples. And finally, I'll explain where to find out more, where to go when this event is finished and you would like more information. So to start with, I'm going to look at a piece of research from an organization called the Digital Production Partnership, or the DPP. DPP is a business network for the media industry with around 400 members from around the world. So members including broadcasters, OTT streaming companies, production and post-production houses, telecommunication companies, and technology vendors. DPP recently gathered over 40 organizations to examine the key design principles to help media organizations reshape themselves for an uncertain post-pandemic world. And Sony was one of the participants in that quite large piece of work. So the report highlighted the requirement for media organizations to be safe, available, flexible, informed, and relevant, and for the requirement for creative and technical teams to have access to creative tools and assets from anywhere is highlighted within the report. So this is an interesting piece of research, and please head over to the DPP website for more details. The second piece of research is from IABM, which is an organization representing technology vendors in the media industry. Last week, IABM published a special report called Plotting the Course for the Media Technology Industry. It is a very detailed report, and it contains some interesting information on the technology priorities for media organizations, as you can see on the right. So this is all through IABM research, where they questioned media organizations around the world and asked the senior technical teams what their priorities were moving forward. So unsurprisingly, we see in the top part of this list, cloud and virtualization. We see OTT and streaming platforms, remote and distributed production, and IP. They are top of the list. But security, imaging quality with high dynamic range, high frame rate, etc., and mobile connectivity with things like 5G also feature. So you can head over to the IABM website, and if you use the address shown on this slide, you can access a good part of this report. So that is what the industry is telling vendors and operators such as Sony. So how are we responding to these new developments in the market? Well, our technology direction can be illustrated very simply. So first, we'll continue to create tools to add value and impact to the content that our customers are producing. And we're using the best combination of resolution, things like dynamic range, frame rate, and wide color gamut in our cameras and our associated workflows to meet these requirements. Second, we'll continue to help customers improve the efficiency of their operation and to help them manage costs and become more agile. So here we're using technologies such as SR Live, our system for simultaneous creation of HDR and SDR live content, IP Live with our technology, our partnerships, and our contribution to the work of the industry standards bodies, AI, cloud and virtualization, which, as we've seen, is very high on the priority list, and more on that later, and connectivity, including with 5G. So this is Sony's direction. Some specific areas of focus for us include 5G, with its promise of higher data throughput, quality of service, and low latency. AI, whether that's to add more impact to content for increased viewer engagement, or to automate repetitive process within the supply chains. And cloud and virtualization to bring new options for collaborative working from anywhere. And again, there'll be more on this later. So just to pick up on one example, this is an example of how we can use artificial intelligence to add impact to sports images. So we have here cameras capturing live action from, in this case, a table tennis game. And we can either analyze the performance of each player, or we can use the data to create completely new but related images, as we can see on the right of the screen. With 5G, as another example, we've been working with sports broadcasters and telecommunication companies to test wireless camera systems and our cloud-based virtual production system within a 5G environment. Here are two examples that you can read the press releases in. They're in the public domain. Example from Europe, where we partner with Deutsche Telekom and Infront Productions at the Berlin Marathon in 2019. And in the United States, where we partnered with Verizon and NBC Sports, again, to test the capability and the possibilities, the potential of 5G in our industry. And most recently, a couple of weeks ago, we also participated in the IBC Accelerator program on 5G, where we used our connected XDCAM cameras, our cloud-based virtual production system with its cloud-based switcher, and our smartphone technology to contribute to that high-profile piece of work within the IBC program. So, how can you find out more? Where do you go to find out more when this event, this great event today, has finished? And what about some specific examples of these technologies from Sony in use? Well, if you only remember one thing from this presentation and from this day, try to remember this slide. So this shows an overview of an online event that we are calling Rewrite the Future. And this event is running throughout September and October. It's an online event which you can access via pro.sony/rewrite. It's quite easy to remember. So let's take a closer look. So the Rewrite the Future program, it's a program of webinars, exclusive content with some great case studies of how we are helping leading organizations through leveraging our technology and our solutions. We have white papers, product, solution information, and much more that you can refer to at your own pace. To make it easy to navigate, we've structured the event around solutions in 8 specific areas. And you can see the first 4 of them on this slide. So we have technologies to engage your audience live, how we can help deliver unforgettable sports and entertainment productions. We have a section on smart live production, including simplified production that's accessible to everyone. Remote and distributed production, so how we can use things like live production over IP, for example, and including information on 5G. We have a section reporting anywhere. So if you're in news or journalism and you want to see how to link your crews wherever they are, you can access this area. We also have a section called Get the Cinematic Look. As you can imagine, that's all about our cameras for cinematography, for features, for documentaries, etc. Leading through to our on-set and post-production workflows, from lens to screen and all the possibilities for on-set and in post-production. Our wireless workflows with Sony camcorders. And finally, how you can use the cloud to collaborate and manage everywhere through your creative teams. So just to pick up on 3 examples before I close my presentation, I'm going to look at the Reporting Anywhere section, and you can see one of our latest case studies, which is highlighting how global news organization Reuters selected Sony's Media Backbone Hive system to create a centralized production platform which allows their worldwide bureaus to collaborate on stories across different time zones. So this system is all around sharing content via the cloud, working on stories using common web-based editing tools, and driving down the operational costs for the organization. So there's a great behind-the-scenes video, an interview with Reuters staff, where they explain how they applied Sony's Hive system to their global organization. And you can see the video, you can access it via the link at the bottom of the slide. The second application area to examine is smart live production. And this is a case study that we're highlighting around a solution that we created for the German broadcaster SWR to help them produce more content off-peak during times when the studio was quiet, during studio downtime. So this solution used pan-tilt zoom remote cameras, very low-cost remote cameras, with Sony's video switches that are used around the world, and an intuitive touch interface that we developed, which allowed everything to be controlled remotely. So even when the staffing was minimal on site, the crew were able to create content off-peak, more cost effectively, and incorporate that into their program output. Again, you can watch the video, you can see a segment, a snapshot of the behind-the-scenes video with the technology layout that was used, and you can access that via the link at the bottom of the screen. And finally, we're highlighting remote and distributed production, and specifically IP Live, where we're highlighting one of the many IP-based solutions that we've supplied into the market. So based on SMPTE ST2110 open standards, and this is leveraging Sony's contributing effort, working with organizations such as AMWA, VSF, the EBU, and with SMPTE. We could have mentioned some other excellent examples of IP implementations, for example, at RTBF or DPG Media, as you may have heard of earlier. So as you can see, there's a lot happening. So please do schedule some time to take a closer look at our Rewrite the Future program. Make yourself a cup of coffee, register for some of the webinars. They run from between 30 to 45 minutes, so manageable amounts of time going into quite some detail. And there are many to choose from. And as I said earlier, you can download a white paper or two from the Rewrite the Future web hub. So that basically concludes the formal part of my presentation. I think I'm pretty much on time. So obviously, if you need any more information, please do get in touch via your usual Sony contacts or via the Pro.Sony Rewrite program, or you can contact me via the deal room. I'd like to finish by saying many thanks for listening to this short presentation. And I hope, as I am the last speaker, I think, before lunch, that you enjoy your lunch and enjoy the rest of the day. Thank you very much.